Coming in at number 8 is where I'm going to put Tua. Now, Tua had a really nice year last year. Injuries, obviously a factor, missed 4 games. But he threw for 272.9 yards per game. That's solid. Where does that put him? The fifth in the league in yards per game. He had a 105.5 rating, which led the league. 25 passing touchdowns, which was 8th in the league. And completion percentage was 19th. Okay, not great. 64.8. But obviously Tyreek Hill and the Jalen Waddle 1-2 punch. New offensive-minded head coach comes in, and Mike McDaniel, someone who I'm a big fan of. And he looks good. He looks like a completely different player, but not at that elite level. Good, fine quarterback. So the Jets have not the worst quarterback in the division, not the second worst quarterback in the division. They're going to have a top 2 quarterback in the division. We'll talk about where he lands in a little bit. But at 7, this is where I'm going to put Lamar Jackson at the 7 spot. Lamar, we know when on the field, is a very electric football player, a really, really damn good football player. But he missed time this past year. Missed a good chunk of time. He missed 5 games. He threw for 2,242 yards, which is 186.8 yards per game, 91.1 rating, 17 touchdowns, 7 picks, 62.3 completion percentage. If you're curious for the rushing numbers, he also added, please hold, we're scrolling, 695 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns. The 2-year, no. I don't know why they do it backwards here. 764 yards and 3 touchdowns was what it was. I apologize. They did it in reverse order. In 12, which 63.7 yards per game. That's solid. That's really solid numbers. But he's going to come in at the 7th spot. Really, a good quarterback. I think he gets some unnecessary hate. I don't put him at the top of the cream of the crop of the AFC. Starting to get close to where Rodgers falls in, I think, and then we'll debate, obviously, and I'm sure you guys in the comments will get after it, which is good. I love that, and we can make our own orders, and we'll talk about them. 6 is where I'm going to put Trevor Lawrence, the first overall pick from 2021, hit his stride, which is something that Zach Wilson wasn't able to do. But he ended up with a 66.3 completion percentage, 4,113 yards, which was 9th in the NFL, 25 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions, 241.9 yards per game, and a 95.2 rating. Had a huge comeback win in the playoffs against the Chargers, and is just absolutely trending in the right direction. I think he is someone who could climb this list. If we're doing this list next year, I think there's a chance that it could look a little bit different. But I think he's already a top 10 quarterback. But the unfortunate thing is most of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league are in the AFC, which is, I guess, part of the reason why the Jets decided to go with Aaron Rodgers instead of a Derek Carr or a Jimmy G or Ryan Tannehill who would have been maybe around the 10th best quarterback in the conference. Derek probably would have been let's do this on the fly here. Follow me. I know this is in the script and it might throw you off, but I think if I was ranking this with where I would put Derek Carr, he would be either 8th or 9th on this list, right around where Tua is. Tua's 8th, Jimmy G's 9. So I guess, would I put Carr behind Tua? It's close. I think it's relatively close. I put them, so about 8th or 9th in the conference, where, spoiler, Aaron Rodgers is going to be 5th for me. Aaron Rodgers comes in the 5th spot. Now, can that move up? Yes, there is that can move up, but just based off where he was last year and in general, yes, it was a down year, but still not really that bad numbers for Aaron Rodgers. Like the 3,695 passing yards was 11th in the NFL. 64.6 completion percentage would put him 20th, so not great. Passing touchdowns, 26 puts him at 7. Yards per game, 217.4 was relatively low for him. That's 18th in the NFL. He had a 91-1 rating, which would put him about middle of the pack, 16th. But, I mean, back-to-back MVPs before that, I still think, having a top 5 quarterback in the conference is going to make you competitive, especially when you have an elite defense on top of that, and just everything else. And the ones that I have above him, I guess, is what we can get into now. I have Herbert 4, Allen 3, Burrow 2, Mahomes 1. And maybe Herbert's the controversial one. I don't know why that's the case. Some people were really down on Justin Herbert for his season that he had this past year, but 4,700 yards, 68.2 completion percentage, 25 touchdowns, 10 picks, and 93.2 rating. Still just 24 years old. It's just a stud. Allen took a little bit of a step back, but 63.3 completion percentage, 4,200 yards, still 35 passing touchdowns, 14 picks, 267.7 yards per game. Burrow, man, what is it, the year of Joe Burrow last year? 35 touchdowns, 12 picks, almost 4,500 yards, 4,475, 100.8 passer rating. And Patrick Mahomes is on an absolute other planet. 67.1 completion percentage, 5,250 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 picks, 308.8 yards per game, a 105.2 rating, 77.6 QBR. The guy is just absolutely elite. So looking at it, I mean, obviously there are a lot of really damn good quarterbacks in the AFC. I would say from about, I don't know if I include Tua in that group, but from 7 up, Lamar, Trevor, Rodgers, Herbert, Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, whatever order you want to put those in, those are 7 really damn good quarterbacks. And quarterbacks that you feel pretty good about having as your long-term answer at the position. Maybe not Rodgers because of the age, right? Maybe not Rodgers because of the age, but a quarterback that you think can win you a Super Bowl. Those are all every one of those quarterbacks that I listed off 1 through 7, I think has the skill set to win a Super Bowl. Tua, don't know if he'll ever be healthy enough to do it. Jimmy, Tannehill, Mac, Russell, Deshaun. Maybe if Deshaun snaps out of it and looks like the guy that he did in 2020, we can get back into the conversation. But the rest of those guys, no, are not going to be competitive. So having a potentially the 5th best quarterback in the conference to go with a number 1 defense is really going to make a world of difference for this Jets football team, right? They had, without a shadow of the doubt, the worst quarterback room in the NFL last year. Zach Wilson stunk. Unfortunately. He unfortunately did. Mike White looked okay in a couple spot starts, then fell off. Joe Flacco played a couple of games for them, which is just sad in 2022. But having Rodgers is going to make a world of difference, which is that's the thing. We can talk about leverage, and I'm just so tired of the debate of what's the trade going to be. Is it worth giving up this much? They shouldn't give up this much. They should go for this guy instead. While Rodgers said that he wants to come to the New York Jets, and by all indications this thing is going to get done, I want to look at, well, where would I put Rodgers in the quarterback landscape of the rest of the AFC? Because it's hard. I mean, I listed it off. There's 7 really damn good quarterbacks. 8 if you want to include Tua. The injuries is the main reason why I take him out. But in a conference with Lamar, Lawrence, Herbert, Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, you've realized why they wanted a guy like Rodgers to compete with this window on the rookie deals. And then hopefully in a couple of years, you get somebody else to come in who could play at that high of a level. That's the goal here. But that's really the main thing that I wanted to get into in the monologue here is just the quarterback landscape in the AFC and where Rodgers fits.